All right, welcome to another episode of Detox, the podcast at the NIC, where we meet with founders, influencers, celebrities to see their take on the startup ecosystem of Pakistan. And I'm really excited to have with us today Sher Khan, founder, engineer, builder.
Yeah.
Share is working on a very interesting startup, and we're going to get more into that. But first, Share, why don't you give yourself an introduction and just tell us about your life up to this point? Like, who is the human behind ezWiFi?
Thanks for having me, Namer. Yeah, it's cool to be here. And a little bit about myself, then, yeah, my name's Sher Khan, founder of ezWiFi. And yeah, I grew up the entire time here in Islamabad. Yeah, I went to Frontmat entire life, same school. So I have childhood friends from like playgroup and everything. Then graduated from Frontmat, moved to London, started studying computer science at Imperial College London. Then graduated from there, worked at a bunch of like Wall Street banks for 2 years in London and in New York. Then at that point, I was like, now it's time to build something, and moved back to Pakistan and started building companies that give free internet to people.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the second startup you've incubated with the NIC, if I'm not wrong. The first one being Frontmat.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey of becoming a founder.
Yeah. So when I moved back, like I started Frontmat, and that was generally a CRM for like a CRM and like feedback tool for brick and mortar stores, like physical locations, like restaurants, cafes, and stuff. And it was going pretty well. We're doing great. We had like lots of clients on our product, but then COVID hit, and since all of our clients were restaurants and cafes, which shut down during lockdown, we went from like our peak revenue to literally zero overnight. Now, people exaggerate when they say like, "Oh, we lost our business and like it went to zero." Mine literally went to zero because I remember being up the night and sending invoices out. So like the first of like some month, and all the replies next day were like, "Our business is closed. We can't pay you." So when that happens, like it was quite a quite a shock. So yeah, so we tried to like sustain and like survive for a bit, but give up product for free. But eventually, it can only go so far, and I had to like kind of like just sunset that.
Yeah, but you stuck with the internet. I think even Frontmat originally was helping restaurants and other businesses with that sort of often complex sign up, and I think you simplified it a lot. I remember seeing it myself at a restaurant before I even met you. So I really like that. And now Easy Wi-Fi is doing something very, I mean, in the same space,
Yeah.
but and similar, but it's quite an innovation. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Easy Wi-Fi is, real quick?
Yeah, I think before I say what it is, and I can tell you why I started like two companies with basically the same mission, which is like just give free internet to people. The idea was like when I was growing up in high school, right? Before high school or high school, when 3G, 4G just came out, data packages just came out. I had a phone, but I literally had no money to actually be able to like buy a package. I remember I had Telenor SIM. I didn't have enough money to scrape together and like get a package for a month. So I would be on Wi-Fi at home. I would step outside and I would just lose access to the internet, lose access to like all my friends and everything. Then graduated from Farwell's, moved abroad, started working, making it like a very decent living. So I never had that issue of like not having access to the internet. Could afford packages like decent, no problem, good speeds and everything in London and everything. So, but then I would come back to Pakistan in the summer break and during on holidays and stuff. And one thing I'm sure like we can all relate, everybody in Pakistan, is we have this concept of like scheduled power cuts, right? Load shedding. So when that would happen is like the power would turn off, and it was quite remarkable that nobody cared. But when the router would turn off, when your Wi-Fi would turn off, you're like, oh crap, I'm cut off. I couldn't message you. I couldn't message anyone. I couldn't message my friends or my colleagues back in London. And they don't get it. They don't get what load shedding is. But that part where like for 1 hour or like I didn't have access to the internet, or for like a few hours a day you don't have access to the internet, you're cut off from everybody. that reminded me of, high school when I didn't have enough money to buy those packages. And, that had a deep impact on me, like a profound impact. And I was like, I want to, fix this. I want people to be able to have internet. It's like a necessity in life now. It's like running water or like electricity. You need to have the internet. So yeah, I quit my jobs. I quit my job, moved back to Pakistan, and yeah, started building, a company that's giving free internet to people. So that's how Frontmat was born to a certain extent. We needed a way to, bootstrap this, and the idea was that you give an application to restaurant cafes where they're able to collect data and do these sort of things from like the Wi-Fi they're giving to their customers. But that completely got destroyed during COVID. So I started ezWiFi, where everything is free, and we help businesses actually monetize their Wi-Fi connections through ads. So we bring the ads, we bring like the data collection, and we'll help you make money from it. So that's what ezWiFi is. But the general concept is we want to connect as many people as possible. So, like millions and then billions. That's the whole thing. And eventually we want to be, global. The whole idea is to build a decentralized global wireless network. So that's our plan.
I love it. I love the thought process, and I like where you want to go with this. Tell us, what are some numbers around internet right now? I mean, in the world, in Pakistan, how many people have access to internet?
Yeah. So what you'll see a lot is people confuse smartphone penetration with connectivity. You'll see a lot of like telcos and everything talking about how, Pakistan's like 90% connected, 80% connected. It's not true at all. Sure, like cell phone penetration is very deep in Pakistan and like all over the world, but actual access to the internet like is really, really bad. Even if you take, for example, Islamabad is good, Lahore is good, Karachi is good to a certain extent. You step out of these cities, it's really, really bad. And nobody has the exact numbers. We've done surveys and we've gone out to like, villages and stuff like that. What's happening over there is that one person or a group of people will buy one connection and then they'll share the internet with their neighbors and stuff like that just because they can't afford it. So it's really, really not good. And you take the north or like areas where you don't have like wide internet, it's really not good. I don't have the exact numbers honestly, because like I don't believe the numbers that people are giving up, because it does not reflect what's on the ground.
And when you say north, you mean the north of Pakistan?
Yeah.
And talking about other countries in the same tier as Pakistan, I mean, what is their level of connectivity?
Theirs is much better than us, for sure. But again,
Long way to go.
Yeah, long way to go. Cell phone penetration is great. So the market exists where these people are looking for connections to come online, but we have to do better. Yeah.
And ezWiFi is going to supplement that.
Yeah, you have companies like ours trying to like do it as well. You have companies like Starlink. You have like the Amazon company, Project Kuiper. These guys are trying to do it as well. But in my opinion, they won't work in the developing world just because it costs too much. You're looking at like a $500 setup, then $100 a month subscription. It's just not possible for a person living in a village in Pakistan to be able to afford that. And what we want to do is like we want to use those services. So we want to use Starlink, we want to use Project Kuiper, and then we'll monetize it in a way that it's actually profitable and makes sense. So we'll somehow like get $100 worth of value. We'll pay Starlink $100, but like we'll somehow make $101 or $105, and we'll make it like sustainable.
Brilliant. So you take the existing service providers and the internet that they're already providing, and then you beef it up in the sense that I'm sure you make it better in some way, but also because then you create this mechanism where, say, a restaurant owner can run an ad on his sign up page, and then that helps make the internet free.
Yeah, exactly. So we're making money through ads, and we want to make sure it's free.
All right, Sher, coming a little bit more back to you and how you developed into a founder. Who was your greatest mentor growing up? And maybe if there's a different one now, who's your mentor now?
Mentor?
Inspiration.
Yeah, I think inspiration is more. Growing up, I didn't have any mentors. I would be like very honest. So inspiration, yeah, it's like quite cliche, I guess, because I'm an engineer, writing code, writing software. So growing up, it was like probably like Zuckerberg, like Mark Zuckerberg. So like just watching him build Facebook and like write the code, build like one man army who built like version 1, launched it, scaled it up. It was pretty cool seeing that. It was also cool, like he was like super young when he did it. From his dorm room. That's always an exciting story. So that was really cool. These days, like I'm quite into what what Steve Jobs had done, with like the element focused completely on design and like how to make sure like everything, the customer experience is like super smooth, perfect. So yeah, like it varies from time to time. In the middle, I had like a thing where like Elon Musk is like the best. So yeah, like it varies quite a lot depending on where I am in my journey. But in the beginning, like when I was building the product, learning how to code, it was like Mark Zuckerberg. Then I was like at one point super into everything, like the real world aspect of like working with atoms, what Elon Musk was doing. And like now as I'm building a company and scaling, it's like more into what Steve Jobs had done, or like Jeff Bezos. So yeah.
Okay. So the greats.
Yeah. I like reading about them.
You watch them and you see how they're doing it, and
Yeah.
you try to emulate as much as possible.
Not emulate, but like learn from it, and just like read their books, like their biographies, and see how they did it. Because a lot of problems that you come across building a company, they're universal. Every company goes through it, from like hiring to building products and like building great teams. These are like difficult products, they're difficult problems, and these are the people who like build the greatest companies and like already did it. So like learning from them, seeing how they did it, it's great.
So we're talking about your startup now. So I'm thinking of what were the challenges you faced, when you're setting up, because founders, for them this is gold right now. Hearing about your journey and your inspirations and how you put it all together. And I like that you said that some of these things are repeated across the board. Do you think that's where an incubation center can add some value for founders?
Um, if we're looking at just Pakistan, I think it makes sense to do like be a part of an organization like the NIC, just because there are so many things that it can help with. Setting up a company is not easy. Setting up, the everything with taxes is not easy. Uh, it's just like a very interesting process getting it done in Pakistan. Opening a bank account for a company is not easy. You can't get a debit credit card for a company. I'm still using my personal card to pay for all our services. So these things, like it's good to be a part of an incubator or accelerator that can kind of like guide you and get you through like this sort of stuff. So you don't have to worry about it. You can just focus on building your product, building your team, and like scaling it up, like solving a problem, getting to product market fit as quickly as possible. So yeah, focus on that. You want to leave like this administration stuff for later, or like for when it matters, or have somebody else just do it.
How long's it been? How old is ezWiFi?
ezWiFi would now be, on paper, like when we registered a company, it would be like maybe a year and a couple of months. But before that, I mean, like when like my first company kind of like just ended, I just like started building and starting setting up our routers everywhere, without a company, without a bank account, without anything. Like who cares if it's a problem? Like we'll just take the devices off. So yeah, then we registered the company afterwards and did everything afterwards when the time came. So yeah, it's like a year and a.
And did you know when you were setting up the company that you would be looking for investment, or is that something just organically happened?
The plan was always to raise investment for this, because we have a very interesting network issue, which is that you have to first build the network, and only if you have enough people on it will advertisers come and like advertise on it. So you can't just, so you have to like put money in to get like some sort of like commitment from advertisers to come on board. Like right now we have a massive network, so advertisers are on board. But just to get started, like I bought 100 devices from like my own like savings, and just started setting them up. Like why not? And then the investment, was like I was lucky enough to like meet like two incredible investors, and yeah, they were game, so they backed me.
And I saw your post on LinkedIn, and you had tagged the investors, but there was a range of other people. There was a whole support circle.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say about that? Like, how does that circle come together? How do you find these people? Were you going out of your way to reach out to people and say, hey guys, this is my startup, this is what I'm looking to do. What do you think? You've already done it before.
Yeah, it's a bit of both. So people reach out to me, I reach out to people, and people from my past and everything as well. Of course, like I have my old investors who are like incredible. I have like some of my customers from my previous company who, I just walked into the restaurant and now like they first became my customer. Now like they're my friends and mentors. So the owner of Jesse's, and like he's incredible. Like always takes time out to meet me and everything as well. So like a lot of people, yeah, it's a bit of both. I think you have to like put yourself out there. So when you do that, it works out.
The brand starts with you, right, Sher?
To a certain extent, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that matters a lot. I'm generally on the side where I've always been the side that, the work should speak for itself. You build a great product, you build a great company, and there's a perception, at least for engineers, where like if you make it, like they'll come. Like you build it, they'll come.
What do you think? Is that just the engineer talking?
That's just the engineer talking. Yeah, like there's a big conception. Like we'll build an app, we'll put it on the app store, and then in like 10 days we'll have like 100,000 users. It doesn't happen. You have to go out and you have to sell it, and people will believe in you before they believe in the product, before they believe in the company.
Because here at the NIC, I mean, I see it firsthand that when we do incubate founders, we want to make sure they're solving a problem that's important to be solved, but also, we see the founder and his ability, credibility, and what he's ready to put at stake. So on this note, I mean, what would you like to say to budding, aspiring founders in Pakistan? Like, just some quick like tips, advice.
So I would say like the best advice that I think that I've gotten or like read was like this thing Steve Jobs said. Again, like it's something very simply said, which nobody picked up, but like I love it. Where it's like I'm paraphrasing here, but like of course, like everybody is just making things up, right? So I completely believe that. Like I might be saying like, oh, this is how you raise money, this is how you do that, this is how you do that, this is how you do that. You build a product, blah 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 blah. I'm making it up as I go along. It's the same thing with like the biggest people in the industry. They're just like you and I. We're all taking it a day at a time, and we're making things up as we go along. So don't take anyone's advice to like, if somebody says you can't do it.
Suno sabki, karo man ki. That's
yeah,
what they
kind
say,
of
right?
like, yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, that's like how I run it. Like I take everyone's advice, but at the end of the day, it's your call, and everybody's making it up as they go along. Like they don't have any more information than you do, so it's on you. Like, yeah, paraphrasing a bit, but
no, I think that makes sense. So a nice T-shirt.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. It's a nice T-shirt.
Yeah, I thought it represents.
What is that? What's that? Techstars?
Yeah.
And you recently got backed by Techstars. Tell us a little bit about that. It's big news.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. Super happy about this. I don't even know where to begin. Like it's just a crazy process.
How did it happen?
How did it happen? So it's the same thing when you said, right? You asked me like you mentioned all these people in your post, and it was the same. It was exactly that's how it happened. Where I put myself out there. I reached out to people, asking them, like this is what we're building, this is what we want to do, this is where we want to go, and just like one thing led to another, and like I got added to a WhatsApp group of like a bunch of other investors and founders. From there, I met somebody else. He introduced me to somebody else, and then from there, I got introduced to Techstars. They're like, we love what you're doing. We see this as like something that can really go global and like something that can really take off. So just come have a chat with us. So I hopped in the meeting with them, and we had a great conversation, and that's it.
The rest is history.
Yeah, like and this is like the person who introduced us to Techstars. I met him like a year ago, and I would just send him like updates every month. This is what we're doing, this is how it's going, and you never know if he's reading them or not. You just send them out as an email. So just but it compounds. You build that credibility, you build that trust. Yeah, ye banda matlab laga hua abhi tak. Like he's sending me email updates, and he's not even an investor or anything in our company, and he's still sending me updates and everything. So that got introduced to Techstars, and yeah, like it's incredible. This specific one is backed by Algorand, so this is like one of the biggest chains, like blockchains in the world, and so yeah, like we're doing something in that direction, but I'd like to keep it a little on the down low.
I understand.
Yeah,
Got to keep some surprises.
yeah, we
for
want
us.
to. Yeah, essentially the idea is like we're building a decentralized network. So this is where that whole Web3 angle comes into play. We're not going to be the controlling entity of our network, right? Neither is going to be, the telcos or the ISPs. It's the owner of the hotspot who is the actual network operator. They're the ones who control everything. So that's the decentralization aspect of it. So this is why like this one makes perfect sense for us, and like we're so hyped about this. Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Yeah. We have a lot of things in the pipeline.
That sounds pretty nice. And we're gonna keep watching. We're gonna keep watching your journey, Sher, closely. And so, if anyone was to want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to go about it? Learn more about ezWiFi.
Yeah, I mean they can just reach out to me on LinkedIn, or just email me.
Sher Khan on LinkedIn. You come up.
Yeah, I should come up. I hope so, unless there's another one, probably. But they can also like email me at share@easyy.fi.
I like that. I like the domain name.
Yeah.
That's your website, ezwy.fi.
Yeah.
So that's where people can learn more about ezWiFi.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got this quick fire round that I'd like to end the session on. I'm just going to ask you a series of 3 to 4 questions, and you got to give me your quick answers to them, right? So what's your favorite website?
Yeah. So this one I have an answer for, right? So this is, I don't know the exact domain name, but if you just look up like on Google, like the ISS live stream, so it takes you to NASA's website where they have a camera attached to the International Space Station pointed to Earth. That is my favorite website.
Wow. One day I'm going to come to your office. You're going to have a big screen with that playing the whole time. Huh?
Yeah.
It's very likely. That's a good website. What's your favorite city in the world?
London.
London, huh?
It used to be Islamabad like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Now there's just too much traffic. So
There's
now, yeah.
a lot of
now it's
traffic
back.
now.
Yeah.
All right. What is your retirement plan, Sher?
It's a good one. I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I don't have one.
You're not looking ahead 5 years, 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Any babies down the line?
No. The thing is that, man, like there's this question people always ask, like, what do you want to do in 5 years? I think it's the stupidest question ever, right? If I asked you like 5 years ago, what do you want to do in 5 years?
I would not have known.
Exactly. Could you have predicted like COVID or like what's gonna happen in like 5 days from now? So it's irrelevant. And I think like retirement, I don't know, man. Like I just want to like build something all the time. I remember I was sitting on a beach and so, like I was like, I can write code over here. This is the perfect place to sit and build something. And
Remote work.
yeah, and I got like quite hammered for that. It's like you're sitting on a beach and you're thinking about work. It's like, what are you doing? So yeah.
It's brilliant. It's a perfect mix of both worlds.
Yeah. So no retirement right now.
All right, last question. What was your best mistake?
Tough one, right? Yeah.
You want to come back to that next podcast?
Maybe next podcast, but probably like, I went to like a conference a couple of years ago. Yeah. It's completely pointless, but
It was pointless.
completely pointless.
And you thought it was a mistake, but
Yeah, but it turned out pretty well.
something came out of it.
Yeah, something came out of it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Well, life has a funny way, doesn't it, Sher?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. Really happy to have you. I think there's going to be a lot for our listeners to get from this. And till the next time, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Numesh Zada signing out. Allah Hafiz.